All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of After Hours with Alex and Anthony. Tonight, we are going to be talking about automation and the possibility of automation taking a real estate agent's job. And I know this is a hot button issue. And first of all, if anybody wants to comment or leave questions or interact, we're going to be paying attention to the post tonight. We try to do on most nights, but definitely tonight we're going to be paying attention. So add your comments, add your questions, all that sort of stuff. But all I ask is that you give us a little bit of time to get through the point to begin with and to get into the conversation before everybody immediately starts saying, no, there's no way that automation will ever take a real estate agent's job. Because I know I've been at conferences all over the country, and I hear that now all the time. People are getting up on stage, and it's almost like everybody's like, we're okay, don't worry about it, everybody. When in reality, I think it might be something to worry about. So, Anthony, am I wrong there? Have you been hearing that too?
So every conference I've been to, even conversations that I've had lately, and I shouldn't even say lately, probably over the past year and a half or so, as technology has kind of changed and we've seen so many companies out there kind of make that transition from companies that they never thought they could change. We are hearing constantly that technology, automation will never ever take away a real estate agent's job. Now, and we discussed this, but on some levels, I do believe that's true, right? The real estate agent will always have a job, but I think the job is going to be very, very different than people expect it to be. And what I mean by that is right now what we're seeing, or at least what I'm seeing in the real estate space, is this huge team boom, right? Everybody's getting on a team. And I think part of the reason for that is a lot of people who have these teams are able to generate more business than they can handle themselves, right? And because they have so much business, they need other people to handle them. What's happening is you're seeing less and less of the individual agent actually running their own business, and now they're having 5-10 people working with them to run their business. And I think a large part of that is because of this automation. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we're kind of downplaying it a little bit in terms of what it means. And let's back up a second before we even get there, right? Where did this all start? Right? This started with, we're kind of talking about it earlier today.
Right.
And it came about because we were reading a Bloomberg article?
Yeah, I think it was an article from a couple days ago. It was about a week ago, but and the article wasn't about real estate specifically, but it was titled, the article, if anyone wants to look it up, it's called "America's Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Replaced by Robots." And they're not even saying the poor are getting poorer anymore; they're simply getting replaced.
Right. And that's, I think, where we started the whole talking about this in terms of automation replacing an agent is in that context, in those terms, right?
Right. And I go ahead, sorry.
Well, no, go ahead after you.
Yeah, so and I totally, in a weird way, especially in the real estate side, and maybe it's because of social media and how big some of these groups have gotten. I know you're part of a bunch of these very large groups, 25, 50,000 agents in them. And it seems like every day there's someone else posting, I've been in the business for 18 months and I haven't closed a deal. I've been in the business for 2 years and I haven't closed a deal. And I think a lot of that is, I think there's a training issue to it, but I think that the agents who were able to adapt with the technology and the automation that's out there have had such an advantage that coming into the business not knowing anything about automation, it's nearly impossible to get started at this point. And you need really to get started, you're going to need a huge bankroll to get there unless you join somebody who already has a ton of business.
Sure. Before we get there, right? Before we get to that point of kind of talking about where agents are going, I think it makes sense to kind of make our point about, yes, automation is going to do X kind of a thing. It is an example. No, I mean, really, because there are all these folks out there saying it won't. I'm just giving some examples about what we mean as being, and I'll use the one I used earlier.
Yeah,
okay?
The DocuSign one, yeah.
DocuSign one, okay? And here's what I mean about automation taking real estate agents' jobs. Years ago, in a given day, a real estate agent could do an X number of closings. Let's say it's 2, 3, 4. Let's say it's 4. Let's say in a magical world years ago, you could do 4 physical closings in a day where you would sit down with all of those people, right? And kind of go, okay, that's a great world, okay? That's funny. They thought it was a follow-up from yesterday. I love it. So hold on a second, though, right? So we said, let's say in a maximum world 10, 20 years ago, someone would go to 4 physical closings in a day, and that's the max they could do. You bring around digital signature and something like DocuSign or whichever number of the digital signature things out there, and the number of deals that an agent can do any day of the week goes from 4 to 50.
Right. It gets exponential. It becomes such a larger number because there's so much less to do, right? You're putting in the email address, you're putting in the basic information that you need on those contracts, and it's off into the world. They click a couple buttons on their phone, on their computer, whatever it is. And the nice part about what DocuSign, like you said, these other companies have done is they've made it so you don't have to be in front of a computer. You don't have to print it out and sign it and fax it or scan it and email it back. And this whole process to it. You know, I love DocuSign. I use it. We both use it in our businesses. And being able to send a contract to somebody, they click a button, has revolutionized the way people are doing business.
Exactly. And I think that's sort of the differentiator. Everybody is scared about this moment where, there's going to be some portal out there that connects buyers and sellers directly to one another. And somehow in a magical world, people are going to do FSBOs and people aren't going to have to market homes and so on, right? And all of a sudden in one day, all real estate agents are gone, disappeared off the face of the earth, right? That's sort of the fear, but that shouldn't be the fear.
Definitely not.
The fear is really what's happening in every other industry. Because if you really look at every other industry, it's not that a piece of manufacturing hardware technology comes in and replaces 100% of the workforce at once. It's 10% of the workforce gets replaced, and then another 10%, and then another 10%, and slowly you see a smaller number of people doing or being responsible for a larger set of work.
Right. I think I totally agree. I think another great example that people could probably resonate really well with is the Uber example, right? And I've seen it in New York City, 5 years ago. Do you need a cab? You got in a yellow cab. That was it, right? And how much they've changed the entire world of cabs is unbelievable, right? I don't have to go on the street anymore. I don't have to go hail a yellow cab. I can be finishing up dinner and say, okay, I'm leaving in about 5 minutes, call my Uber, and by the time I walk out the door, the guy or the girl is sitting there waiting for me. I get in the back of the car. I know it's going to be a clean car, and it's revolutionized, and it didn't take the jobs away, right? The yellow cabs are there, but what a lot of those people have done is they've adapted. They said, well, if Uber is going to be the way people are doing it, I'm going to get my own car, and I'm going to drive for Uber. Right? So They haven't taken the jobs away, but they've revolutionized the way people are doing their job, right? I love being able to get into a cab and by the time I'm out of the cab, it's paid for. I don't have to touch money. You have to do anything. It's totally done for you. And I think that
I think to some extent, though, the real estate industry is insulated from groups like, say, Uber that are the major change groups. Meaning, like, there's such a disruptor that they come in and they force the cab agency to change within a matter of 3 years to die. Right? That's like a major disruptor. I think real estate is probably a little bit more shielded than that to some extent, but not entirely. I'd be more afraid of the 5% things that chip away, 5% of your time. But that also chips away 5% of the industry, or just basically makes it such that a smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller number of agents end up doing a larger and larger and larger set of.
Right. And
whatever mousetrap or automation or so on.
Right. And I think as we continue to see technology in the real estate field improve, I think you're exactly right. That's what we're going to see. We're going to see the consolidation of what agents are in business, right? Right now, I think the statistics out of NAR are, 85%, or I'm sorry, 15% of the agents do 85% of the business. It's some crazy number. It might even be a 90-10. But it's already there's a huge split in it. And to think that those agents, by utilizing technology, can do even more, if they're doing 100 deals now and they continue to revolutionize technology the way they are, and they keep adapting to it, if that agent can go from doing 100 to 200, that's another 100 deals that part-time agent or even the full-time agent that does 15, 20 deals a year can't do anymore. It's Tim is saying it's 7% of the agents do 93% of the business. That is a disgusting number. Oh my God. And to think that could get smaller.
So hold on, people. What we're saying here, and let's be really clear about this, all those people that are getting up on stage and saying, don't worry about your jobs, technology's never going to replace anybody, technology's never... I mean, I see where that trend's going. Do you?
Yeah, it's pretty much already there. And that's the crazy part. I think there's so much that can still be done in the industry, and these are already where the numbers are. And that I can't believe it's 93.7. I'm kind of in awe at how high that is.
I knew it was closer to 90-10 from a year or two ago, but it's gone even those like 2% in the time I've been in the business. If that tells you anything. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So it's and I think there was some nature of that anyway with the industry where, there are folks who will get a license for whatever other reason.
Right, and hang the license just to have it, right?
Just to have it and all that sort of stuff. But I think it's pretty clear that people are moving towards consolidating.
Right.
Now, what are some other ones? What do you see as these other sort of automation systems? I mean, we mentioned DocuSign. What are some that you're like either you use or you've seen?
I mean, I love automation for a ton of my business, right? I think I talked, I don't know, it was yesterday or the day before, I was discussing like my AM open house customer service, right? So one of the things we did was we were getting a lot of the same support questions over and over and over again. So what I said was there has to be a better way than me sending the exact same email out every time someone has the exact same problem. So I built a Facebook bot, right? It was completely free. I don't remember what I used. I think I used ChatFuel or ManyChat. It was one of them. And basically what I did is I went through a list of any customer concerns that we've gotten, and I built this bot, right? It took me a day. And if you go to the Facebook page now and you send a message to it, you can have a whole conversation with customer service, right? And if you lost your password or you're interested in what the upgrade is and you're doing this, and you get all the information you need, and there's pictures and there's real responses that come out of this thing, right? So just for me in that kind of automation, that has taken so much time off of taking away from building the business instead of worrying about customer service, right? So automation can be done in so many ways. And we see guys like I don't know if you've seen Travis Tom's Facebook bot. And if you guys don't know who Travis Tom is, he owns, he's a coach and he also, I forgot the name of the company he is. He's, let me look him up real quick. I don't know why Elevated Real Estate Marketing. So they do Facebook ads, they do landing pages, and they have a really, really cool company. And if you go to his personal business page, he has an awesome bot. And his bot is like the selling bot right from the beginning. And it's really cool how he walked through the whole process. And, he actually asked me to look at it. So I looked at it, and every once in a while you see a message comes through, a month later after the last time you spoke to it, this and that. So it's kind of like this cool thing that is kind of changing the way people are interacting even with other people. And that's just, that's just one automation, right? And we've of course been using MailChimp automation for, I don't know, years.
Forever. Right?
Forever. And when we were talking about earlier too, MailChimp yesterday launched for their free users. So if you have less than 2,000 contacts in your account and you're a free user, you can now use automation just like if you were paying for it. So that's really cool. And there's going to be, I'm sure people are already working on courses and all these crazy things that will teach people how to utilize a small list and get really good results out of it. And if you build the right list out of anything, you're going to get good results out of it. So automation is certainly taking over in a lot of ways. What kind of stuff have you seen?
I mean, the one you were mentioning to me that I know directly relates to the real estate industry is the texting.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, call action.
right?
Yeah, call action is awesome. And we
Just what's going on over there is it's awesome. I mean, you use it more than I do, so that's the next one that came to mind was call action and the automated texting thing.
Yeah, so I love texting, and I actually use call action in combination with LionDesk. And LionDesk is a CRM, and call action is their text capture and phone number capture line, basically. And you get a bunch of different lines. You could track where things are coming in, and it's really cool. And just as an example, like you could post an ad, let's say on Craigslist, and say, for a list of open houses this coming Saturday in Nassau County, text Nassau to this phone number, okay? And then what happens is they text Nassau, and immediately they get a response that says, "Thanks so much for requesting a list. Here's a link to find the properties you're looking for this weekend." And the agent would have to go in and obviously make the link. But every time someone texts, people don't realize the power of that phone number, right? You can't text from a home phone. You can't text from your email. When someone texts, it's their cell phone number. So you have a real way to communicate with that person. And again, like we were talking about yesterday about being a millennial. If you want to get me, texting me is the way to do it. So once you've captured someone's cell phone number, the amount of power you have with that is truly amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even to the extent of advertising. I mean, let's kind of put it into perspective for people, right? Once you get a good understanding of what you can do with automations, you can, for example, do something like what we do for some of our companies, and you can do this in real estate as well. You set up a piece of bait or an item that somebody might want, like you were talking about, the information about an open house or the information of whatever it might be, or a white paper.
There's tons of stuff. You could do a first-time home buyer list or things to look for when you're looking at a house. There's 1,000 things people can think of.
Right. You spend a few dollars running a Facebook ad that drives people to that captures the email. Right? Or their contact information or their cell phone number or whatever it might be. And then from there, you set up automations that automatically start emailing those people. And, 1 week after week or day after day or whatever it is emailing and following up and tending to those people and hitting all those touch points. Now, this is something, again, where you can take, I mean, let's be honest, you can take anywhere from 5 to 500 hours setting something like that up.
Mm-hmm.
Depends how crazy you want to get with it. But the moment you start that running and start paying, whatever for those ads or so on, you're really not touching it.
Nope.
You're doing maybe a little tweaking here and there, a little work on it, a little so on. But let's compare that and let's think about that in perspective to how long it would take you to even do all of that without those systems working together.
Oh, it would be insane. I mean, even if you just had a database of 500 people, to think the amount of work that go into texting, emailing, calling, doing all these things that you can literally automate there wouldn't be enough hours in the day, in the week, in the month probably to get through all those people.
You know what job that just sounded like? I'm just saying. It sounded like a salesperson to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's spending your day emailing people, calling people, texting people to try to get business.
Yep.
Sounds like a really familiar job.
Yeah, and it's funny. It goes across. Obviously, we're talking about real estate right now, but that goes to so many different levels, right? That goes for auto sales. That goes for any type of sales job. If you don't have some sort of automation running in the background to help your business continue to nurture and grow, it is impossible to be successful today. I think, what are Zillow leads closed at? Zillow leads are closed at something like 1.8 to 2%. I think it's some really low number, right?
You'd know that better than I would.
Yeah, it's something low. So if you think about for every 100 people you communicate with, and I don't know what the life cycle of that is, but let's say it's a 6-month life cycle. Okay. So if you get 100 people over 6 months, that means you have to nurture those people over 6 months to close 2 of them as a deal. And to think of how much time even 100 people to constantly follow up, nurture, and deal with, it would be a mess. And if you're signed up for Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads or real estate web manager leads, you're getting stuff in, you have much more than 100 leads sitting in your database, or at least you better. So when you're up to 500, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 leads that you're nurturing over years and years, it becomes impossible to do without automation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the little money that you are going to spend on an automation like that,
so nominal.
So phenomenal and so worth it. It really is. But it sounds like I'm hearing two things here, right? One of which is if you've got it together and you can work these systems and work the automations at the right times, you can be that small percentage polarized group that does a crazy amount of deals and capitalizes in the market.
Absolutely.
But I also think that can be pretty scary for some folks to realize that unless there's some adaptation,
Well, and I think that's a big reason why we're seeing this huge jump to teams, right? Although it's kind of like buzzy and everybody's like, oh, I'm part of a team, and it sounds good when you're a listing appointment and all that stuff. I think a large part of that is people do realize that they can't do everything. And a lot of these people are getting on these teams that have these systems in place, right? So if you're not joining a team or going to somebody that has, let's say it's someone who has their own business but can no longer handle the amount of leads they have, I don't know if it's possible to succeed as a single agent long term. And I'm talking about in the next 2 to 3 years. I don't know if there will be just individual agents out there anymore unless you're in a very, very specialized part of the market that you're going to constantly get business from. Which in real estate, it's there's maybe 1 or 2 things I can think of that would be possible for.
Mm-hmm. So who's doing a good job of it?
I mean, there's a lot of people doing a great job, right? Like you see guys like Kenny Fast out of San Francisco, right? His marketing is out of control. I know he's got systems in place. He's got a team behind him, the whole deal. Who else can I think of off the top of my head? I know Nick Baldwin just started a team, right? He's with Keller Williams. He just started a team, and I think he's got 3 or 4 people on the team, and I know they're doing a ton of business already. So if you have the right systems in place, you're going to make it happen, right? But so most of these people, and I don't know when Kenny started. I've only met Kenny about 2 years ago. And I usually actually only see him at Inman conferences. We don't really talk otherwise. But I've seen kind of him start from doing however many deals he's doing, and he's got this huge marketing campaign around him, and it's the hashtag Fast Agent, and everybody knows who he is in Oakland, and he's got this huge thing. So if you had the opportunity, if I was in Oakland and I wanted to do real estate, I wanted to do business today, I would go knock on his door, right? Go walk to the office and say, what can I do to be on your team? Because I know he has business.
Yep. Okay. I was kind of more being putting you on the spot there, meaning what companies are doing it well?
What do you mean what companies are doing? What brokerages?
There are brokerages or there are franchises that are supporting this automation model well at this point that you see?
I want to say no on that. I could be wrong, and don't quote me on that. But I don't know of any of, especially the large franchises, any of the Realogies, the Remax. Keller Williams is supposed to be the tech company that just sells real estate. I don't know that any of them are fully supporting this automation through. And again, I could be wrong, but do you know any of them?
I don't know anybody that are like making a point of doing it or that seems to be outstanding. Like I think they're all like, it's not to knock anybody, right? I'm not saying that say bad. They're marketing and systems and stuff like that are very good, and there are a lot of reasons to join various franchises and brokerages
Sure.
based on, whatever model and whatever you're into. But I don't really hear much about, really working automation systems and like
Right.
setting up something that you don't really have to touch again for a significant amount of time.
And I agree with you. And I think an interesting part of that is I think a lot of the franchises are still kind of selling the old model, right? Make sure you're in the office. You gotta have what is it called? Floor time. You got to make sure you're going out on appointments, and it's all tried and true and proven stuff. I'm not saying it's not proven. People are still doing business, but I think that if a franchise decides to take automation and say we're going to build it from the top down, and if you're an agent with our company, you're going to have access to these things, and this is how we're going to support you and do it. That franchise, I think, would explode, right? It would be amazing to see how much business that franchise did after a year or so of implementing these automation systems.
Yeah. I mean, let's think about this for a second here, right? Imagine if you were to put a layer between you and Zillow leads,
mm-hmm.
right? That ran all of the automation systems and took a lead from cold to super hot. And by the time an agent is getting that lead, even they're even like thinking about it, that they're getting it into their inbox, that person's already ready to really work with them because they've already received 20 emails from that agent and
right.
articles and responses to messages and all that sort of stuff, right?
Right. And the other part is chances are they've already found, if not the home they want to buy, one of 3 to 5 homes that they want to buy, right? Everybody today is on the internet. They can see homes. They don't need agents to open doors for them. That's not what we're here for anymore, right? So they know pretty much where they want to be and what they want to buy. So you're right. If when the agent gets that call, they already say, okay, I got 3 properties I want to see and I'm putting an offer on them, it's going to change the entire game.
I mean, right. Like, think about it. Imagine if you could say, you know what? I'm not going to hand you 200 leads a month. I'm going to hand you 6 leads a month, but you're going to close 90% of them.
Right. You're going to close 5 out of those 6 every month.
Every month.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty wild. I mean, I notice some folks out there probably watching this. That sounds like a crazy future world, right? Well,
But here's the thing: with that a lot's gonna change, right? Compensation changes with that, right? Because if I'm only giving an agent, let's say I own the brokerage, right? I'm giving an agent 6 leads and I'm closing 5 of them. He's not getting a 90% split, or she's not getting a 90% split, or 70 or 60% split. They're going to go way down because the company has nurtured that all the way through, right? But the nice part about technology is as it grows, the cost of scale goes down, right? So I think up front, that will cost the brokerage or franchise, whatever it is that does it, a lot of money up front, and they'll adjust down. But as they continue to do it and they get more people, those splits will go back up to the 50, the 60, the 70. And the beautiful part is that agent is going to get to work from home.
Let me make this connection for you. All right? Let me tie this up in a little bow and tie it back together. I think that might be why we're seeing such a growth in teams. Because teams can adapt at a quicker pace than, say, a franchise or large brokerage. These 100%. Team leaders are able to adapt the automation systems that they've built themselves to work for 3, 5, 8, 10, 20, whatever it is, people. And because they're handing those warmer leads, those whatever, to either, somebody specific on a buyer side, somebody specific on the seller side, and then that person closes an even higher percentage because they're specifically related to it. Mm-hmm. Maybe is that the core? Did we just find the core to why teams are becoming so popular?
Well, I think that's a huge reason behind it. And just like you said, a team of 10 people can adapt a hell of a lot quicker than a franchise of 100,000 people, right? Even a franchise of 10,000 people. So I think that I do think that's a big reason why teams have become so popular, especially the teams that are doing it right. I'm not talking about the teams that are doing 30 deals a year. The teams that are doing real business, they have these systems in place, right? You could go to their website, you could sign up for their email list, and you sign up for someone's email list on a team. You'll get an email every day for 30 days.
The moment a chat box pops up with the person's picture saying, "Hey, can I help you today?" I'm like, automation system.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. So how do they make the leap? How and who and so on? How does that leap get made between? Because let's be honest here. That would be like if we could bottle that lightning as a product. For all you startup entrepreneurs out there who have time
and money
and a little maybe a little money and maybe a little chutzpah here.
Oh, look at you breaking out the Yiddish.
I figured I'd throw that out there for you.
I like it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, you're not even rocking the chain out tonight. I mean, come on.
I got it on. I'm just not, just wasn't rocking it out.
Right. You're gonna throw it out there a little bit? Well, oh my God. So, how do you do that?
Chutzpah.
Now I want to brainstorm on that. How do you do that? How do you build an automation system that's a tool that sits between, say, Zillow leads and an agent, a brokerage, or whatever?
Well, the really nice part, and this is something that is actually doable, right? Because Zillow, I forgot the exact name. I think it's called like Zillow Tech Connect or Zillow Connect or something like that. It's something like that, right? And they'll actually allow you to tap into their system, pull out leads if an agent gives you access, and do all that stuff. So doing it is not really the issue here, right? Anybody could build it. If we sat down, we could probably build it in a couple months and get it done, right? I think the issue here is not about the technology. I think it's getting a widespread amount of agents to say, yes, I have to do this, or getting a franchise to say, if I don't do this, we're not going to be there, right?
Here's the thing, though. If you start handing 6 deals a month or whatever it is to these people, and the ROI is so high and the percentage close rate is so high that you're basically just handing them, even if it's 1 deal a month, you're just handing it to them.
Right.
Who's not going to sign up for
that? I'm laughing because you'd be really surprised. I think there are companies out there, and I don't know who they are, but I've seen these things where, like, we guarantee you 2 deals a month if you follow this system. And if you don't, you get your money back. And these companies aren't taking over the real estate world. And they should be.
The whole 2 deals a month if you follow this system, though, and I don't know which one you're talking about here and which one
there's a ton of them out there.
But the way everyone I've seen that of those, this is how they work, which is, 2 deals a month if you follow the system, but the system is 65 steps.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is if someone automated that system, right? You took the whole system and you automated for them, I still think you'd have trouble getting adoption. I don't know why. I still think that agents would look at it and say they would feel like it's a too good to be true situation, right? Like, oh, this can't be real. And you'd have those people that are like, no, I promise you, I tried it. This is real. And still people would be like, that's a scam. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Probably true.
But and that's why I say, as a tech company coming in, I don't know how they would realistically do it, because you could do it today, but it's driving the adoption that would be the problem. And the only way you're going to drive that much adoption is if a franchise does it or a very, very large brokerage does it, that these other brokers look at it and say, oh, we're a year behind. We have to get here right now.
I'm just going to ask, was that a challenge? I'm almost sounded like a challenge.
Oh man, I just I would love to listen. I would love to see it happen. I think it would be great for the industry. I think it would be great for the consumer experience to, and the other part obviously about real estate agents, right? Like, and I've been a realtor for 10 years now. And you tell someone, or a customer or whatever, if they don't want to talk to you, they are going to avoid you like the plague, right? They're going to avoid your calls, your text message, everything. If it was fully automated up until the point that they were fully ready to actually talk to me.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
this is what I mean when like automated. Like, I'm not talking a thing where it's like we hand you leads. That's what I mean about the whole, like, Zillow's doing that.
Right.
I'm not talking hand leads. I'm talking nurture people to the point where you're getting 2, say, phone calls a month from people going, hey, I've been getting your emails. I really want to look at this house. Are you ready? Can we go look at it?
Right.
That kind of a thing where you're not even.
Yeah, it would be amazing. It would truly be amazing.
Deal.
I just, I mean, listen, it will be done. It will be. And the people who adopt it, I promise you, are going to, they're going to make a fortune. But the 93% that don't adopt it, right? Or that it's probably going to be higher than that. It's probably going to be 95 or 96% of people that don't adopt it are going to be working for the 3 to 4% of people who do adopt it. It's going to be that simple. They're gonna make their own team. There was a guy that you introduced me to up in Denny Air Tech Edge in Vermont a couple of years ago. Adam something.
Author.
Yeah, so he's like building a team across the country now. I see his Facebook posts.
Not just a team across the country. 14 offices in 9 states.
Really tiny team.
Tiny team.
Tiny team.
Super tiny team.
Yeah. But like, that's the example, right? Like, he's a tech guy. He's got his systems in place, and he knows if he takes what he does and he puts it here, it's going to work just as well. He just needs 5 people to come work for him there, right? And
yeah,
that's it.
I see posts YouTube too at this point from him. Every week being like, we're hiring.
I've seen yep.
Whatever role on a weekly basis, all the time, being like, we're hiring for this, we're hiring for that, we're hiring for this, and I'm going, all right, they've figured something out,
Yeah,
and
they figured it out.
Yeah, but if you think about it, they have people who are very, very strategically placed in that business to serve various roles and be very good at those roles. And it sounds like it's trending towards what we're talking about here.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know much about his, his business and whatnot, but it just clicked to me. I was like, wow, like, this is a guy that has been doing it. And since I met him 2 or 3 years ago, I know he owned a very large team or a brokerage there when I met him. And yeah, I've just kind of watched it explode. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's been a few years. I've been lucky enough to watch it too. I don't know what. It's actually probably right around the same time I started my first company. When I started Barcode. It was right.
So you've known it for a long time.
Well, I've known him about 5-6 years.
Okay.
A friend of mine from high school started as an executive assistant. I believe her title now is director of operations, I want to say.
Okay.
But she and I went to high school together, and then randomly, my cousin, who works for Keller Williams, but is based out of Massachusetts, also works for Adam. Crazy, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah, she does. She sort of is one who will come up here and be here for a week or two at a time, and help him, and then they send her out to a lot of different Keller Williams throughout the country to kind of do various things for them. So yeah, so it's I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see it see it explode.
Yeah. So, and again, bringing it back to the automation, right? Like, he obviously figured something out, right? And he knows that he can put it into another place and make it work. And I can guarantee you, he's not rebuilding his automations. He's putting them all in the same one. And like you said, those people are going to say, okay, I'm going to get 3 deals a month working here. And they probably only get the calls when that person is ready to buy the house.
I don't know the entire automation, but I can tell you this. I definitely make it into his Facebook advertising demographic group.
I love it.
So I don't know the whole show, but I know he's at least automating it, and he's doing the same sort of thing. Bait items, posts about specific houses that, like, I might be interested in, kind of things that are in the area, stuff like that. So yeah, it's
interesting.
Yeah, and I can't imagine.
So you can't imagine what?
No, I can't imagine that those are not, being set up for everybody, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's just targeting you.
Right, exactly. He systemized it.
Right. Yeah, they might be ready to buy and they don't even know it. So anyway, all right. So back to what agents are going to do. So this is coming, right? This isn't just us talking about it. This isn't us like, oh, this would be so cool if this happens one day. This is
pretty much here. 7 it's pretty much here. It's at our doorstep. And let's be honest, It's at our doorstep, and we have educators out in going, don't worry, everybody, technology's not taking over.
Right, like you're going to be fine.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. Don't worry. Just go knock on some more doors.
Right, like that's crazy to me. I love when I see that in a group. Like, oh, I just started in real estate. What should I do? Go knock on doors. Like, no, please don't go knock on a door. Please don't do that.
Right, and don't let me pause here for a second. I'm not door knocking. I had to do that.
Dude.
I had to. All right, I am not though, right? But if you don't have a system in place to store those leads, a system in place to follow up with those leads and nurture those leads, a system in place to actually until you have all of those things, door knocking makes no sense in the world.
Does nothing. And a big reason behind that is, what if someone answers, right? And they say, come in. Like, what do you do at that point, right? You don't, as a brand new agent especially, door knocking, I feel like, is not something. Experienced agents who are doing it, who've been doing it, listen, if it's working for you, keep doing it, right? But You're right. Unless you have the systems in place to handle everything surrounding a door knock, you're literally wasting your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would love, and one thing I think about and talk to some folks about sometimes is, if you had it to do over again, how many leads did you waste? I know I've wasted leads over my lifetime. I know you have too.
Oh, definitely. And it's interesting because I'm in a very niche part of my market. So foreclosures for every major bank in the country. So I look at that and I say, for probably the first 2 years, maybe a little less, 18 months in the business, from like 2008 to 2007 to probably mid 2009, so about 2 years, 2.5 years maybe. I didn't have a CRM. I didn't have Excel. And at that time, I was getting investor leads hand over fist. I have a really extensive investor list now, don't get me wrong, but I look back on that, I'm like, how many more deals could I have done? Could I have done another 10 deals that year, 15, 20, 5 deals, 2 deals? Could I have done something else with those people? And I never followed up with them. Like, they would call, oh, that's not available, done. Click, never heard from them again, never called them again, never emailed them again. That was it. And I look back on that, I'm like, how on earth did I let that person get off the phone? But part of, I guess, learning what business is about.
Let me put it this way to you, and I even think about this sort of in our business, right? Do you know how many emails it takes normally? We've talked about this before, but how many emails it takes to get somebody to actually open it or respond?
What is it? It's to respond, I think, was like nine touches, 9.5 touches, something like that.
It's like usually between 8 and 9, 7, 8 or 9, 7.5, 8. Depends on the year, but yeah, about 8.
Crazy.
Think about the leads. Think about the leads you've taken in.
Mm-hmm.
How many leads over the last, say, 10 years can you honestly say you followed up with 8
None
or
of them.
more times?
Not. I should say none of them. On my real estate side, none of them. My businesses and that kind of stuff, my AIM open house, those are fully automated, fully automatic. Someone comes in, they get the welcome email every day for 2 weeks. They get an email. Well, that's automated, right? But the investor side has been different.
Right, but the automation thing has only been for that's over 7 is how long now?
I don't know. We used to say it was 7 touches, and that was years ago. So I don't know how long it's been, 8, 9. I can tell you just from experience, it's harder and harder to get people to even open emails, right? So you build these systems sometimes, and they're not. I wouldn't call them a waste per se. There's something that has to be done, but it's a lot of work to get almost no results.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, we're just because this is technology doesn't mean we're, in automation doesn't mean we're knocking print either. Like we've both talked about having some success with print lately in both of our businesses.
Oh, yeah.
And, but those can be automated too. That's the thing.
Yep. They even have the handwriters now. Like the handwritten cards now for like $2-3 a card is crazy.
Yep, exactly. So even that's automated now. Let me ask you though, what was that like wake up moment for you after 18 months or after whatever? Like what like kicked in that you went, oh shit, I need to. Whatever.
I was with a brokerage. I was their operations manager there, and I left that brokerage. And one of the things that he was his CRM, and I forgot the name of it now. It's called I couldn't even tell you. But anyway, it was this like old archaic system that had to physically be installed on every computer, but it was like totally customized to exactly like his business and this and that. And when I left there, I realized like, wow, I'm like, he's got and he literally had 40, 50,000 contacts in this thing for everybody's ever met. I mean, like if you wanted to know who his dentist was, you typed dentist and it was there, and every appointment he's went to and notes he took and what happened. And it was like insane. And it made me realize like how important it was to have a record of every email that was sent and every text message and all these things. And text message obviously much more today than then, but having a record of and I used Zoho at the time because they were one of the only CRMs that you can in the cloud connect to your Gmail account, and it would log every interaction for sent and received emails.
You want to know something funny? I just hooked up Zoho for Agent Inner Circle.
Zoho's a cool product. Not as customizable as I would like, but a cool product.
It's so check this out though. This is what I was blown away by. Not only does it hook into Google for Work, it hooks into MailChimp and Zendesk.
Oh, really? I didn't know it hooked up with Zendesk. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like we go to a single contact record, and you go and look at, their purchase orders, whatever, and then start looking at things like every Zendesk ticket that has been entered by that person, every MailChimp email campaign that's been sent, and some of the records go along with them. Every email that you sent from your account to that person is linked to them. Like it
right, it's all there.
It's all there.
Interesting.
And all synced and automated there. So it's not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoho's been around for a long time, very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool.
Well, they just out a new version, like a new skin and a new.
Oh, did they? Yeah, I haven't used them probably since 2012 or maybe even earlier than that, 2011. It was a long time ago. I got rid of them, but it was one of those things I realized. Okay, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say they hook in Stripe, Authorize.net, PayPal.
Oh, they're fully in. Interesting. I gotta take another look at them.
Yeah, I was surprised. I had looked at them a long time ago and had kind of been putting it off recently, and then I happened to look at it and went,
right.
Oh my, look! It hooks all of it together.
That's pretty fantastic.
And they're all native integrations. It's not like Zapier or something like that.
So what you're saying
Which,
is
like,
you automated everything into one place. That's what you're saying. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Right. Yeah, even the chats and the all of that.
Right.
Yeah. All
Which is pretty
automated
amazing.
enough.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
think about how many people you would have had to employ realistically to make that happen, be a little crazy. All right. So anyway,
20 years.
Let's touch on some quick little things. So agents still alive and well, never going anywhere, but without adaption, a lot of them are not going to be making any money.
Well, right. I mean, a real estate agent as a theory is not going anywhere,
Right.
right? But a lot of real estate agents are.
Right. Right. A lot of them are.
For so long before you peace out. It's the same,
Right.
I mean, we look at the car industry; it's the same thing, right? Did a guy or girl putting a car together? Like, is that person gone?
Right.
No.
Gone. Yeah, no, they're still
They're
here. They're just not
still
working
here.
at Ford anymore.
They're just not working at Ford anymore. Right? There's a
Right.
fewer number of them, and they're really highly skilled folk who work at the Ferraris and the Porsches and all of that stuff.
Right.
And the leather handmade tools or handmade kind of things like that, like the leather
Right.
work or whatever, is employing more people than the actual, like, just piecing the car together at the end.
Yep.
Specialization of labor, smaller workforce, and more skilled laborers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it being different in real estate.
I completely agree. I think it's going to be a big shock for people when they look back on this video in about 2 years and they were like, "Holy shit, they were right." Because I think I can guarantee you for the next year or two we go to conferences, we're going to keep hearing the same thing about automation. People are going to keep saying, "Don't worry, you're going to be 100% fine," and one day,
Right.
unfortunately, they're just not going to be.
Well, but that's the thing. They're not really looking at automation, and I think that's
Right.
the part of it that is the
Right.
crux, which is
Right.
they're looking at it and they're saying, in one fell swoop, will technology replace an agent? But that's not how technology replaces an industry. It never has been. It never will be. Just like the cab industry, did Uber come in and replace them altogether? No. Did they replace a lot of the workforce by having that come in? Absolutely. We're going to see the same thing in real estate. We're going to see a lot of the workforce being replaced by automation systems, and
It's going to be interesting.
every challenge is an opportunity, isn't it?
That's very true. Very true.
So what's your next? How are you going to capitalize on it?
Oh God, I don't know. I have so many ideas flowing through my head at the moment. My brain almost hurts.
And that should be
for me.
That should be our next.
Okay. I think for me,
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Ahead.
So what I was just saying, I think for me, being on the side of the industry I am, it's just a different piece of the pie for real estate. But with that being said, I think it's going to be really interesting, and I'm going to be thinking about this now for the next 3 hours, of course. Thanks. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see how many agents are truly affected by this, and it's almost like it's going to be an interesting day when they look back and they say, we had the opportunity to be at the forefront of this, and now we're behind, right? And I think, weirdly, and the more I've been thinking about it, since we were talking about franchises before, unless a franchise goes out there and is either already building this or starts today, there's a very good chance that one or two new competitive franchises come into the market and dismantle what we currently have there. Because if they come in and they do automate it and they do exactly what we were talking about is, listen, the agents who work for us, they do 4 deals a month and they get 7 phone calls or 6 phone calls, right? They're going to change the real estate game. And I mean, we could literally in 5 years, not see any of these large franchises anymore if they don't make a major change to adapt to the industry and to what is coming for every industry, essentially, right? Without automation, every industry is changing very, very quickly.
Yep, absolutely.
It's really good to know, Kyle. I appreciate it.
Great. We have some great friends, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Here's how I would pose this question to begin with, okay? And because I think when you and I have talked about this before, and it's the Einstein quote, right? Which is, if I had an hour to think about a problem or to fix a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes coming up with a solution, right?
Right.
So at this point, there are, say, 10 people, like you said before, there's sort of like 10 people in Long Island that do the kinds of deals that you do, pretty much, right? Is that a yes? Oh, God, what now?
I'm sorry. There's a couple more. There's about 15, 20 people, but it's a very, very small number. I'd like to say I know for 100% you're wrong, but I'm just not sure, Kyle.
Just not sure.
Yeah. This is my PayPal account. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't work for free. Okay, so let's say there are 10, right?
There's about 15, 20 realistically that get foreclosure listings on the island.
Okay, so there's 20. Let's say there's 20. Mm-hmm. How do you make that 18?
Honestly, so again, very unique part of the market. They retire. These accounts don't really go away, and they don't get passed down either. It's not that kind of business, so they just retire. There's no real other way. Yeah, you make it 18 minus 2.
I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some of these guys have been, they've been in the market in this end of the market for 35, 40, 45 years, some of them. So when that happens, I don't know what the banks will do. I don't know if they will bring new agents on.
Is it impossible for a new person to break in?
I wouldn't say impossible, but it's.
I get that it's hard, but not impossible. How does that person get those? How does that person get those deals to begin with off of somebody else's plate?
You get lucky. Really, you get lucky. There's no magic bullet for this end of the business, right? And you could talk to foreclosure agents across the country. They made the right call at the right time and talked to the right person. There really is no magic bullet. Like I got my first listing making a phone call and annoyed a guy enough that he just said, fine. And that got me going into the bit. Actually, it was a woman. Her name is Judy Miranda. And yeah, I just annoyed her enough, and finally she just gave in and gave me that listing, and it wound up being one of my largest accounts for a long time until their entire bank got bought out. And I've seen that time and time again. These banks and asset management companies get bought out, and their investors switch over. So Listen, it was a lucky thing. It was just persistence.
So what you're saying is you followed up with this person over and over and over again.
Oh, about 4,000 times.
Yep. Well, I'm just saying,
yeah, that's exactly
you followed
right.
up with like 4,000 times before you got their business. Oh, interesting. Yep. Yeah, huh. If only there was a way to automate those follow-ups.
If only there was a way to automate the emails and the phone calls and the voice messages and the text messages. If only there was a way to do that. Oh, man.
This is what I mean, though. When I say, how do you get 20 to 18? And you go, well, no, there's really no way. And I go, well, how did you get one client? And you went, well, I bugged the crap out of them until I got one. Right. And I go, okay, well, how do you automate bugging the crap out of that one person? Well, if you can do it for that one person, can you do it for 5? Well, yeah.
Yeah,
you can
of course.
Do it for 5, 10. Yeah, absolutely. So what's stopping you from taking it 20 to 18?
Yeah, it's nothing is stopping me. I'm, I don't have anything. Honestly, I don't have anything else going on. That's really what it is.
Right.
I have a lot of extra time.
Yeah, free spirit. You just
Yeah,
float
totally free
around.
spirit. Yeah, don't really do
Yep.
much during the day. Just kind of float my way. Kyle's
Awesome.
still going.
Oh my god. Awesome. Well, I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah,
I'm thinking maybe next one. Well, we'll come up with something else, I'm sure by then. But I'm thinking
I'm
we
sure we will.
we actually talk about some of these systems at some point.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good idea. Maybe we'll reach out to a couple people tomorrow, and we'll see if we can get some more information from them. See if they even want to be on the live to answer any questions that we may have for them. So
Yep.
they can hop in the chat and talk away. But yeah, that sounds good, man. So I'll be in touch tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
All right. Sounds
All
good.
right, buddy. Good times.
All right.
All right, man. Later. Always.